One header, full control. Today I'm breaking into a real server using a vulnerability that lived undetected for over 20 years in one of the most used programs in the world. It's called Shellshock and it made hackers' lives terrifyingly easy. In this video I'll show you the exploit. Let's get to it. It was 2014 and the world was still dealing with the aftermath of Heartbleed. But then came something worse, Shellshock, a critical bug hiding in Bash, which is the default shell on Unix-based systems. One malformed header and suddenly remote code execution. Shellshock was so simple and so dangerous that it got the highest CVS score possible, 10 out of 10. And well, Bash was everywhere, from web servers to IoT devices, and it had been vulnerable for decades. So, how could one line of text crash the entire security model? Well, to understand that, we need to take a look at how the bug works. Shellshock abuses how Bash handles functions in environment variables. Normally, Bash should ignore unexpected code inside a variable. But in this case, it doesn't. It starts with something that looks like a harmless Bash function, like this. Let's break that down quickly so you get why it matters. The parenthesis tells Bash, hey, here comes a function. And the rest defines the body of the function. The colon is just a no operation. It literally does nothing. The semicolon ends the function body. So far this looks totally harmless. But here's where the bug kicks in. Bash doesn't stop reading after the function. It keeps going. So anything you put after that last semicolon gets executed immediately. So if I add something like this, Bash will run the echo command even though it's outside the function. This is the flaw. This is Shellshock. You didn't need credentials and you didn't need file upload. If a Bash script was reading user input, game over. And that's not just theory. Let me show you how this actually plays out in a real-world scenario. I started by scanning the machine with Nmap, and the switch A runs aggressive scans, which will detect the OS, version, etc., while the T4 switch speeds things up. And this is a good first step when you want to get a full picture quickly. Port 80 was open and the website was just an image. But that's never the full story. I ran a GoBuster to look deeper. And just so you know, GoBuster brute forces directories and file paths, which is useful when the main page shows nothing, but you know there's more under the surface. And that's when I saw it, the CGI bin file. Access was restricted, but that only made it more suspicious. A 403, which is forbidden, usually means that something is there, but you are not allowed to see it. So, I launched a brute force attack on common CGI file names using puff and boom, user.sh. I accessed it and got the output of the uptime command. This told me that this was executing bash scripts server-side. Looks harmless, right? This was just a bash script echoing server info. But what if I told you that that same endpoint is vulnerable to remote code execution? It was time to test for Shellshock. With the help of some articles, I crafted a malicious user agent header using curl. Now, why user agent? Well, because CGI scripts often pass HTTP headers into environment variables, and that's where Bash picks them up. I crafted this malicious user agent header and sent this request with curl, and the request goes through as usual. But behind the scenes, Bash receives our fake function and executes the command that we injected, which in this case is the ID command. That's right, this is remote code execution via an HTTP header. Just think about that. We are sending a fake browser header and getting remote code execution on the server. That's the level of access we are talking about here. Now, in this case, I went even further and tried to get a reverse shell So first I set up a netcat listener to wait for the incoming connection. So this command just tells netcat, listen on port 1234 and wait for a connection. Then I crafted a header that included a reverse shell, and this payload opens a reverse shell. It then tells the server to connect back to our machine and gives us a shell. Let's see. Boom! Who am I? I am Shelly. No login, just one header. So, is this still a threat today? Or is Shellshock a ghost from the past? Well, Shellshock may have peaked in 2014. But don't let that fool you, because many systems still run outdated versions of Bash. And CGI scripts, well, they are not dead, they are just hiding. You will probably find Shellshock vulnerabilities in old corporate internet tools, legacy IoT devices, and forgotten web admin panels. That's why even in 2025 this bug still shows up during internal pen tests. How do you protect yourself? Well, first, you can update Bash because the fix has been available for years. Second, you can disable CGI if it's not essential and use defense in depth, and that just means layering multiple protections, so if one fails, the others still keep you safe. And that's it, guys. Shellshock might be an old bug, but it's the kind that reminds us that one tiny mistake can lead to full system compromise. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Stay curious and stay safe. Bye bye!